In today's video, I want to run through LinkedIn's social media marketing strategy and why I don't think you should copy it. Don't get me wrong, I absolutely love LinkedIn. It's probably the place I spend most of my time online, and also I think I may have spent more money on LinkedIn ads than I have on my mortgage or will ever spend on my mortgage in the future. What's happened with LinkedIn is common and it happens with other great companies, and because their company is so great, everyone knows who they are, everyone knows what they do, then their marketing becomes, for lack of a better word, not so great. So in today's video, I'm gonna go look at LinkedIn ads, LinkedIn profile, to look at their LinkedIn ads and to see whether they're setting a good example for the rest of us B2B marketers. Let's jump into it. So first off, let's go on the LinkedIn ads LinkedIn page and click on ads. And let's have a little scroll down here, and I'll get into these ones in a minute, but the ones I want to focus on first are these ads, and ads like and I think this video, little snippet here, is very much aligned to this carousel here. You can kind of see the B2 breakthrough, I think it says. And they kind of go down this B2 insight, B2 relationship, B2 some other marketing buzzword. Now I get what they're trying to do with this, but the problem is they really lack clarity, and if I'm being completely honest, they're pretty confusing. The only reason you know what the ads are about is because you're already on the LinkedIn platform and it's a LinkedIn ad about the platform. So you're kind of already familiar with what's going on. If you're a small company, you try and do a play on words or a pun in your ads, and it's not extremely clear what it is that you offer, then it's probably not going to work that well for you guys, which is something that I wouldn't recommend copying. It'll be like our SEO offering for SaaS companies using something like SaaS EO and just having that as our ad, or something I saw on a t-shirt previously, which was SEO and then a comma and then lots of zeros and a pound sign at the beginning to illustrate the fact that SEO makes you a lot of money. That works well for a t-shirt. I don't think it works well for either performance marketing or just brand awareness or even product positioning, because it's too confusing, it's too gimmicky. And I genuinely think, LinkedIn, you are better than that ad. I mean, I get these ads all the time. Look at this screen here, and I saved one the other day. I don't think it was cropped properly, but again, I was getting the same beta brilliant, beta business, beta, I don't know, some other marketing buzzwords. So it needs to stop. So look at this. This one here, this ad here, you can see the beta brilliant leads. It kind of cut off. I think it was optimized for stories maybe, but okay, you actually can't see anything in these, but you can kind of see the angle they were going for with the Beta Brilliant, and you know, that has the LinkedIn logo when it's not on LinkedIn, and you kind of understand what it is because again, we're bought into LinkedIn as a great platform, but it's not really a product ad. It's not a testimonial ad or a social proof ad. It's not a thought leadership piece of content. It's not a direct response piece of content. It kind of sits in the middle. And the problem with this is, you know, it's gone through so many rounds of internal iteration and like sign off, and people had to kind of get involved and make sure it went through the proper hierarchy to push that out. And I think that is probably the essence of the issue. And when so many stakeholders have an input, they kind of want to get their creative juices flowing. And what happens is that creative juice then comes out with a play on words of something that they do, which doesn't really represent their product or service in a great and succinct way. I think it's quite old school type style marketing, and like I mentioned, it's probably gone through a long sign-off process. But anyway, let's not talk about the creative too much more, because I do think there are some good bits of creative they've done. I'm talking as a whole, and the bits which I just see plastered everywhere on all of my different social media news feeds. Now let's jump on to point number 2, which is tracking. So again, if we go back onto the LinkedIn ads page, we can go down here and we can see they use the like of white papers to talk about marketing's new mission. They haven't gated it, which I guess is a slight plus, because there's no point in gating all of your valuable content. Probably spent quite a lot of money on creating, so it's definitely good to get it out there. But one of the things I do want to touch on is, as soon as I click on the click to read online, it takes me through to Flipsnack, which is an issue, because as soon as they defer you onto a third-party website, then you're really limited with how much you can track. You can track that click, but you can't track consumption. And if you can't track consumption, how are you going to analyze, review, and optimize what's working well and actually what content that your customers are engaging with or could potentially be leading up to a buying decision in the future? And the answer is you can't, and it's quite an old school way of containing your information in an ebook like this, and even older school way of not actually hosting it on your own website in a bit more of a native format. If you're a smaller company or an SME, you probably look to bigger companies for your marketing strategy. So you see companies like LinkedIn doing these big ebooks and you're like, we should do these ebooks as well, because it obviously works well for them. But working in lots of different industries in B2B space, I can tell you that it's definitely not the best bang for your buck, especially if you've got a limited marketing budget. So even if you do host it on your own domain and it's just a PDF, you can't track PDFs through analytics. So you can't see the consumption, you can't see the dwell time, you can't see heat map sections of the bits that people are engaging with. You can't see any user flow data which informs future decisions in your marketing, and just tracking that click through to that ebook shouldn't be categorized as success. And that's ultimately what's happening here. And let's again go on to mobile. If I go onto mobile and I click on this, how am I supposed to read this? If I'm on my mobile, we're talking how many people on LinkedIn go on mobile, and how am I supposed to go in and read this content here? I'm going to pinch it and zoom in. Oh, even that, you see that? It just like zooms in and out. LinkedIn, an amazing platform for amplifying content to enterprise buyers or B2B buyers, but I feel like with these ads and with their method of tracking and even hosting content, they're not leading the way and pioneering that way through B2B marketing activity. That was a big rant. Okay, on to the next one, which is InMails. This one here isn't a massive negative, but the fact is I've never actually received an InMail from LinkedIn, whether that's LinkedIn ads, they're trying to promote their ad offering, or whether they're trying to promote reactivating premium, which I took off for a while, but then I didn't get an email saying you should reactivate it, get like a month free, didn't get any of that. And what this tells me is they haven't been leveraging their own audiences well in LinkedIn ads. And what we recommend doing is every time someone sees or engages or watches, say, half of a video, put them into an audience. Then you can show them other creative. You can then start appearing in that person's feed more frequently. They may have a little bit of interest, so you can start nurturing them further down the metaphorical funnel, or just appearing in front of them at a higher frequency with different ad creatives. It's always something we suggest with people with smaller budgets because it allows you to appear like you have a larger budget than you actually do. And within that, if someone's shown a fair amount of interest, it's worth sending them an InMail. An automated InMail which is triggered off the back of activity or engagement. It's really good for the likes of inviting people to events and recruitment, we found, or even like reactivation of certain customers. And the fact that I haven't received a single one from LinkedIn tells me they're probably just amplifying their ads out to a wide host of people. And because they have a big budget and a big well-known brand, they don't really mind doing that, and they're not really tracking success that much because we've seen that from the fact they use third-party domained type ebooks. How does it work with LinkedIn? Do LinkedIn pay for LinkedIn ads and then it goes back onto the P&L for LinkedIn? Do they get a cheaper rate? Are they bumping up our ad prices? How does it work? I mean, if you're not really paying for LinkedIn ads, then why should you care about how well you can track them? Chances are, if you're watching this video, you are paying for these ads, and they are not the cheapest ads, but they are the most targeted ads if you're looking for that first touch point in a B2B buying journey. So amazing platform, but they're not leveraging their own audience. They should be leading the way with this stuff. This brings me on to my next point. LinkedIn needs to look beyond big company and their marketing efforts to actually show how you can get success out of LinkedIn ads. If you look here, they actually created an ad around the best types of LinkedIn ads. If you click on it, it's all the likes of Xero, Sage, Microsoft, Hewlett-Packard, and going through these ads, they're all 30-second, highly produced videos. They may or may not work well. I mean, they look amazing, but for a lot of people doing, SME or small business LinkedIn ads, it's not a good approach for them because they're not going to get that much value off the back of it. They're little sound bites, they're using them like TV ads. What they should be promoting is new and upcoming ways of getting the most out of LinkedIn ads through just creating content that genuinely helps their audience with lower production value that actually fills that product market gap, informs them of all the different messages they need to hear in order to make a buying decision. With smaller companies, we need to make sure that all of our money that we're putting into LinkedIn ads and paid social ads is driving some consideration to some extent, and if it's not, we're tracking that and making sure we're re-optimizing so that it does in the future. So I think what LinkedIn can start doing as well is actually promoting some smaller companies and some really good influencers in the B2B and the marketing and the LinkedIn ads space they're doing really cool and creative things, and they're doing it on a shoestring budget, so I think they should be promoting this sort of stuff so big and small brands can see the type of stuff that's working out there, and not just promoting the stuff which is safe, like Microsofts and your Sages and your Zeros, but giving smaller influencers a platform on ads and being like, these guys do it really well, you should copy them and you should get more involved because it's actually making a real world impact. So this leads me on nicely to what I would do if I was LinkedIn Ads. And let me whack this up here. And what I'd want to do is create a clear roadmap for the next 6-12 months and the different types of content that I would want to look to promote and how we're going to sort of drive the trackable results forward. It's 4 different messaging types which sit in 4 broad buckets. And the first one is Angle, which is the thought leadership content. So LinkedIn Ads are in a really unique position where they've created this platform which is kind of revolutionized the B2B first touchpoint space in a lot of different ways. And it's amazing, I'm a massive advocate for it, and I think they've done a lot of great things. But what we need to do is start actually using all that expertise, all that budget, all that data that they have, to start driving the industry forward and creating new ways and new concepts for B2B marketers to follow, rather than doing the ads to ebook download stuff or just the traditional sort of play on word ads. They need to start actually creating in-feed content through ads to amplify that they can consume. Rather than having an image like this which says just boost your post, they need to have more in-depth content around how you should go and structure campaigns, how you can optimize campaigns, examples of good performing campaigns, and just really getting some thought leadership pieces of content out there which shows how forward thinking they are and how you can drive really, really good business related results with LinkedIn Ads, because there's so much out there to be had. There's so many influencers they could look to tap up to sort of like create content for them, to be able to go into a bit more detail around what's actually moving the needle, and just really, just getting emotional thinking about it. It could be beautiful. It could be so, so beautiful. Sorry, got carried away there. Next one we have is applications. So this is more of a product market fit. So how can someone go and actually use your products? So rather than using beta, brilliant. They can target people in certain sectors and show them exactly how they can target certain industries. They can show them creative ads from like Figma who've done really well. They can create ads for agencies to say, get your clients better results by doing X, Y, Z. So actually show them physically, the top one was thought leadership and how the direction of the industry is going and how you should be tracking success. Second one is actually how they can actually use the platform. So just tutorials of how you can go in, use the platform, how you can actually optimize, how you can do ABM campaigns, how you can track successfully, how you can do list uploads, how you can do creating audiences with automated emails, all of this stuff which can change the trajectory of your business. Third one is advocacy and trust. And they do little snippets of success, but do real world case studies. Go into agencies or go into businesses in which LinkedIn has genuinely transformed their marketing and their business. Really get to the core of what it is that LinkedIn is solving from a pain point perspective, and people would be happy to give concepts, ideas, how they've used LinkedIn. I've done podcasts and interviews with companies who literally rave about LinkedIn and their targeting, and they've been really creative with their messaging. Go and speak with them and give people that story about how it changed their world, and I guarantee they'll get really good pickup. And then finally, all the direct response stuff. This is kind of what they're playing at the moment. It's trying to get people just to get them to sign up straight away with unclear messaging. Their direct response stuff could definitely be fine-tuned. Ultimately, I think LinkedIn should be setting an example for not just the big brands that spend loads, but actually showing smaller brands how they can get started on LinkedIn. The fact they haven't got to have massive high production value to get really good content out of there, which gets results. We've done studies where we've created a 10-minute boring as hell video, but it's only hyper relevant to people who are in the industry that would be interested in it. And it's probably one of our best performing videos. If you want a link to that video, I'll whack it in the description below. All in all, maybe I'm being a bit harsh going through, and there are actually some really good ads that LinkedIn have created, but I wanted to highlight some of the areas of LinkedIn ads which we see actually quite common across other industries to hopefully help you guys out on your paid social and LinkedIn ad advertising journey. If you've got any great ads that you've seen before, whack them in the comments. I'd also like to know if you think I'm being too harsh on LinkedIn's advertising strategy, so again, whack that in the comments as well. But if you do want to see a business who's not even really primarily in the B2B space, but does B2B marketing and LinkedIn ad marketing really well, check this video out that we did around McDonald's B2B marketing strategy. Have a good week, guys. Speak to you soon.